we started this show today talking about what is the value of a person's life. And when you ask that type of question, you have to kind of look at how society defines value. Is it the same value for a person of color's life versus someone that might be European in this country? And we always seem to be brought back to this conversation time and time again. And I'm kind of angry about it, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'm tired of always trying to be seen as human. And the particular case I'm talking about is the Trayvon Martin case. I mean, a lot of people picked up on it, and it's gained popularity. But I don't really know what difference is going to be made. You know, people are talking about this is like another Gen 6 thing or whatever. And I said, you know, I don't think it's another Gen 6, because this is about more than sitting underneath some damn tree. This is about the value of a person's life and what is the society's value on it. Not just my personal value, but societal value. So I want to kind of talk about that, and you know, I want to do it without me being angry. I'm already angry, so Jones, I'm gonna start with you. What did you think about this whole thing that was going on? And if people don't know what it is, explain it.
Well, this particular case, is one where the young man was visiting family, and he had gone to the store to purchase some, Skittles and iced tea, I think it was, and
Right.
He was on his way back home, and apparently he encountered someone who is representing himself as a neighborhood watch, a member of the neighborhood watch, and he's not an official member of the neighborhood watch, but he encountered this white gentleman who called 911 and started making comments about how he thought the young man looked suspicious. And unfortunately, the young man was watching him as well, thinking that he looked suspicious. And I didn't hear about it until recently, but on the radio they were talking about the fact that he was on the phone talking to his girlfriend. So he was telling her that he felt uncomfortable, and she was telling him, well, run. So she gave him the recommendation to run, and he started running. And at that point, this white man who was
Zimmerman.
allegedly the night watchman, he was calling 911 and saying, I think he's coming at me. He has something in his belt and, things of that nature. But when the young man started running, he started pursuing him. And even though the police 911 operator told him not to pursue him, he continued and followed him, and eventually had a struggle with him and killed him. So, like as you said, my thoughts are, I am very upset, saddened, and very angry, because this has happened over and over again. I'm perplexed by the law that's connected to this, the Florida alleged stand down law, where someone's allowed to kill somebody if they feel like they're being threatened, because it doesn't seem to apply in this case, since the young man was running away from him, and they're now trying to make it seem like that is the law that's going to be connected.
In the city of Sanford, Florida, which is like 20 miles away from Orlando, we just had all of these black athletes, black stars down there playing in the All-Star game. And maybe this young man might have went with his family to see the All-Star game, and then he ends up dead, going to the store and coming back to his home. And Bert, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but I want to ask this question because someone made this suggestion, and I want to address this. And one gentleman left me a message and said that a lot of these things are happening because of the way we portray ourselves. And it was saying that the way that the negative images that we're putting out there is making people in society look at us negatively. Now, let's answer that question if we can answer it. Is this scapegoating the victim at the same time?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. No matter how, there are blacks who do well in society, who look good, whose appearance is appropriate, and there's still hostility toward them. And there are others where it is true, there is within our community a high tolerance or a high threshold for accepting a negative appearance, a negative behavior, a negative, you use the word values, a value system that that gives off people have we're from the disdainers.
Right.
Well, they're disdainers. They disdain us from the behavior of even just a few. It's enough. There was a resident who gave an interview and said they had break-ins. I don't know how true it is. Had break-ins and some problems with some other blacks in the neighborhood. But that's sort of irrelevant to the main issue of the hearts and minds of some of these people like Mr. Zimmerman, who shot and killed this man. All over the country, there's this use of arms. The NRA, this is not just isolated.
Right.
The National Rifle Association has been pushing these attitudes and these policies and these legislation through different states, shifting the Second Amendment right to bear arms more toward almost criminal behavior, where it's acceptable to walk in a church, walk in a library, walk in a restaurant with a gun, with a weapon. So there is something to that I don't think we face enough. The other part of that, the negative view that we give off ourselves and we tolerate.
Well, you know, again, and I want to be clear about this. We're not blaming this young man in any way. I'm just saying that when we look at society and we look at the image of a black man, like I said it a million times in the show, that the devil has a better image than the black man does. And so when you get these people that come with these preconceived notions and attitudes about what you're doing and what you're up to, I've experienced that as a black man just growing up in the city of New York, and we're experiencing it constantly with this whole philosophy of stop and frisk, because you're a suspect first before you're actually or a citizen or a human being. And we constantly keep having these things going, and this is why I said the battle should have been fought in New York, because whenever we allow this type of stuff to go on, everyone else in the other country feels empowered to do it because New York sets the standard. And stuff. And I'm tired of always having to go to some damn funeral for some young person because the police have shot somebody or whatever, or someone else has shot them. Now, people have said to me, well, Maurice, what's the whole issue with black on black crime? We ain't going to deal with that today. We've dealt with that plenty on the show, and if you watch the damn show, you would know that. We're talking about what happened with someone taking the law into their own hands and how he was empowered by the state to do that, and people are using this fallacy of, you know, I was a threat. And as soon as you say a black man is involved in it, then of course people will say, well, I understand that now.
Yeah, and you know what struck me, what angered me, but struck me as a similarity between a lot of these cases. When Zimmerman made the comment that they always get away,
right,
you know, before he started pursuing him, that already shows that he has a bias and a preconceived notion. And the point that you make should not be glazed over. Everyone looks at New York City, the biggest police force, and and follows it. And although we fortunately don't have that same law here in New York that they have in Florida, the mere fact that situations of the same magnitude have occurred with Amadou Diallo and other cases, similar to that, other states look at us and then say, well, I guess it's going to be okay for us. And we have this ongoing situation where they don't give the benefit of a doubt to the victim. We constantly have this situation, well, was he doing anything strange? Or, how come he didn't recognize that this person that, wasn't in a uniform was a police officer? Things of that nature is just, it's constantly happening. And in this case, I think there's really no comparison, or very little comparison to the other situations, because this man, Zimmerman, does not seem to have a leg to stand on. There doesn't seem to be a gray area like they've tried to portray in the other ones.
Well, I mean, when you even look at the situation, when we talk about the case, when they asked did he have a criminal record, and as a matter of fact, I'm annoyed at the Huffington Post, because when they reported this originally, they reported that Trayvon was the one that had a criminal record, and it wasn't him. When how many times
and Zimmerman was squeaky clean.
Right, and exactly. How many times is somebody that that might have had an altercation with the police, and as soon as he had another one, they were arrested immediately? How is it that this person has had several altercations with the police and he's not even brought down or even questioned in the police department? And then the other issue is, when we're talking about how the police conducted themselves. No one is addressing that issue. There's rumors out there saying that the police were inappropriate in how they dealt with this particular case also. That they were coaching him in how he answered some of his questions by another detective that wasn't even a part of the homicide squad. So when you look at this type of stuff and then you wonder why people are angry down there in Florida. I mean, why? Why would you be angry? Because you're tired of situations occurring that is consistent with the misunderstanding of who we are as people, as individuals and stuff. That same sergeant that was involved in the case, he was involved in another case.
That's right. You mentioned New York. Just a short while ago, the Bronx District Attorney conducted an investigation of ticket fixing by New York police.
Right.
And dozens of police involved. But when they did wiretaps, they picked up this N-word use that really had nothing to do with the tickets themselves, but they were surprised at the kind of responses, the kind of expressions that police officers naturally made toward black people. So all over, this case is emblematic of a lot of this hostility that people have all over the country. See, now the police there, they treated Trayvon like he was the criminal, checking his background. No check the other guy, he's squeaky clean. Checking his, did a police background check on him, and then checking him for drugs, and avoiding the predator that Zimmerman was. That's deep. I'm glad the Justice Department is going in. And I hope that they will be digging out things that we don't even know now yet.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the Sanford Police Department for a second, because they got some problems down there. I mean, with people forgot, and I'm glad that they brought it up again, because I even forgot about the YouTube video. I didn't remember where it was. It was down in Sanford where the police lieutenant's son ran up behind this black homeless guy and punched him and stuff and knocked him out. And then this particular sergeant, Raimondo or whatever, who was involved in the same case, didn't even have the arresting, or the officer who wanted to arrest him told him, no, you can't do it. So this person who, and if you looked at the police lieutenant's son's name, his record, he had a crazy record for domestic violence and all these other things that were dismissed, and yet he didn't even do time in jail. I couldn't even believe that.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other cases where there's preferential treatment with people who were either police officers or, or related to police officers. That type of a situation where that was the cause for a lot of racial tension before the situation happened, and now this is just compounding it. It's just, unfortunately, of such a large magnitude when you have an innocent young man who goes through something like this. And why I say it's a comparison to some other situations, because I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but the black man who was killed because an undercover cop, Dorsman, when he approached him and they alleged that he went for his gun, that type of situation.
Asked him if he had some reefer. Yeah,
asked him if he had reefer. We have to look at the fact that individuals act normally, and if this young man is walking and someone's staring at him and acting funny and pursuing him, obviously you're going to run because you're going to think you're in danger. And we have this type of behavior where individuals are acting normally for self-preservation and they wind up being killed.
The whole premise of innocent until proven guilty doesn't seem to apply. Guilty till proven, innocent is the opposite within the black community, and I'm tired of this crap. And this should be a wake-up call, especially to all of you young people that are out there that are watching, or even your parents that need to sit you down and have a conversation with you about the reality of what's going on in this world.